We are talking the latest Detroit Lions news and rumors, and in this video, we're going to talk all about it. Came from Fansided here. Should the Detroit Lions trade for a specific wide receiver? We're going to talk about that. Should they do it? Should they not? Is this something that's pretty much irrelevant? Teddy Bridgewater, are we still waiting on this guy? Will he eventually become a Detroit Lion? And we're going to talk about Fansided, FanNation, and their early prediction for the 53-man roster. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to give you my thoughts, who I think is in, who I think is out on that prediction. But before we get into today's video, if you're a Detroit Lions fan, you love all things Lions, prospects, draft, free agency, 24/7 Detroit, even in the offseason, you need to subscribe to this channel because that's all I do on here is talk Detroit Lions 24/7. So if you like it, you might as well subscribe. Let this thing going. Let's go ahead and start with this article here talking about the Detroit Lions. Should they be making a trade for Van Jefferson, wide receiver of the Rams? Here, they were talking about this by Brad Berryman that the Detroit Lions should potentially look at getting Van Jefferson. The quote here is, "There are many free agent receivers left, but wonder if Lions general manager and former Rams executive Brad Holmes could make a call Loas Angelas Van Jefferson, who's entering the final season of his contract on a rebuilding roster. Could they look to trade it? Right now, his contract's $1.78 million, easily for the Detroit Lions to handle, as they got $13 million left before they decided to, when they signed the rookies. So they got $26 million, $13 million after that. So the money is not there. The compensation, what would it be? Maybe a second/third round pick, 6'1", 200 pounds. He did show a lot when he started his rookie season the next year, but this past season he was injured a little bit. Could the Lions look to acquire him? What do I think about this? First, I think the Detroit Lions are not going to make this trade. I don't think it happens because the Lions went and already drafted a wide receiver in this year's draft, and they paid $80,000 signing bonus to Cody, the wide receiver over there from the Oregon Ducks. The Lions, I believe, are set at wide receiver, so they don't need to make a trade for one in this case. Yes, they do trade a lot with the Rams, but I don't think the Lions are going to make this trade here. I don't think it is something the Lions need to do due to their cap space, as well as due to the fact that they got a decent wide receiver room. But would you trade for Van Jefferson? Put T for trade or P for pass. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments below. Teddy Bridgewater, is he going to be a Detroit Lion? We did give him a contract, and we've heard nothing about this. Will the Lions look to bring in Teddy Bridgewater? Well, I don't think it's really up to the Lions right now. I think the reason he's not a Lion yet is he's looking at all options, maybe waiting for a team to have an injured quarterback. That is something that a lot of players do, veterans. They wait for injuries because maybe Teddy Bridgewater would like to have a chance to potentially be a starter for another team. So maybe a team out there that loses their starters, like the New Orleans Saints, if Derek Carr goes down, or if there's a Justin Herbert goes down, a situation where he'll have more of an opportunity to become a starting quarterback due to injury. Because right now he's not going to have a availability to be a starting quarterback unless there's an injury in training camp. And you see that quite a bit. So I probably think that's the reason why he's not accepted this offer, because he does have that ability, and he may, and just like it says there, he has offers from other teams as well. So he could be waiting on that situation and looking for that. But why would the Lions bring in a Teddy Bridgewater? I've said this before. Hendon Hooker is injured, and he may be on the PUP list. He may be a while before he is on the active roster. I mean, they did that with Jameson Williams, the same type situation. The Lions are slow when it comes to getting their players from an injury, back from injury, and I think that's smart to do when you're looking at the long-term investment. Hendon Hooker, we know he's ultimately going to be the backup when he's healthy. We already know that, but he's not healthy right now. So the Lions can go ahead add Teddy Bridgewater to this roster and have a ridiculous depth chart at quarterback. You would have then, at this point, you would have Jared Goff's your starter. Teddy Bridgewater would be your number two. Hendon Hooker would probably be on the PUP list, and you got Nate Sudfeld as number 3. And when Hendon Hooker gets available, Sudfeld is released, and Hooker probably ends up being your number 2 quarterback for the Detroit Lions. So if there's an injury problem like San Francisco had, or if we get a case of the injuries like we've seen many years for the Lions, you have the quarterback position taken care of. Now, Jared Goff's an Iron Man. I'm not too worried about him. If there is an injury, I know he can work through it, but at the same time, accidents happen. Injuries happen. And that is something that is part of the NFL. So the Detroit Lions then would have the ability to cover that injury with bringing in Teddy Bridgewater. So my question to you is this. Will Teddy Bridgewater be a Detroit Lion? Not that you want him to. Will he be? Predicted. Y for yes and N for no. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Teddy Bridgewater will be a Detroit Lion? I'm kind of 50-50 on this one. It is what it is. FanNation AllLions doing an early predictor for the Lions here as a 53-man roster prediction. So we're going to go ahead and go into this in their roster prediction, and I'm give you my thoughts on it. Starting with the quarterback position here, Jared Goff, 1, Nate Sudfeld, 2, Hendon Hooker, 3. I do think this is the case starting week 1. Hendon Hooker's injured. When Hendon Hooker is better, he will be number 2. The question is, will Teddy Bridgewater be part of this equation? That we don't know, but I'm fine right now with that one. I think that is correct. I don't see a situation anything different from this. And we could have a quarterback on the practice squad. But if Teddy Bridgewater's here, that would put TB at 2, Sudfeld at 3, Hendon Hooker on a PUP list. Let's continue on here. Running backs, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Craig Reynolds, Jason Cabinda. I'm going to think Muhammad may have an opportunity to take over that Jason Cabinda spot. I would actually put him on here. I think with that $100,000 signing bonus, and he is a guy that's a physical running back, I would put him above Jason Cabinda. I think I would. I know they love Jason Cabinda. I know Dan Campbell likes it, but you don't pay that type of money for an undrafted guy, potentially him making the roster. So I'd look at that. And it may be having 5 running backs or 4 running backs, 1 fullback on there. But I think he does make the roster. Wide receivers here, we go Jameson Williams, number 1. Amon-Ra St. Brown, number 2. Khalif Raymond, number 3. Josh Reynolds, number 4. Marvin Jones, number 5. And Antoine Green, number 6. Yep, I agree that this is it. I think Antoine Green potentially does make the roster. It's going to be him or Cody that will make the final spot. I think that it would be one of those two. Right now, I'll probably give it the jump to Green here. But, yeah, I have no problem with that. Tom Kennedy, I don't think he makes the roster. I think he'll ultimately go to the practice squad like he has been doing. Same with Trinity Benson to the practice squad. I do think that this is your number 6 wide receivers. I think they do go 6. So I concur here. Maybe Cody, that final one. But I'm fine with that. Tight ends, Sam Laporta, James Mitchell, Brock Wright. I agree. That is your 3 now. Shane Zylstra does not make the roster. I think Brock Wright deserves to be on here. James Mitchell drafted last year in round 5, even though he's a round 3 prospect. Sam Laporta taken, obviously, in the second round is going to be here. That is your starting 3 tight ends. Shane Zylstra be on the practice squad. I see that, and I agree with that. Let's continue on. Offensive line. They got Frank Ragnow, yes. Jonah Jackson, yes. Halapoulides Vaitai, yes. Penei Sewell, yes. Taylor Decker, yes. Graham Glasgow, yes. Colby Sorsdale, yes. Kayuda Wasika? Question mark. I'll say yes now. Matt Nelson, yes, as a swing tackle. As the blocker, he can swing as well. I would agree with this. Maybe we'll get one surprise. The offensive line's interesting, but I do think that this is absolutely the case here. I agree. Let's continue on here. Defensive line, Ali McNeil, yes. Aiden Hutchinson, yes. Romeo Okwara, yes. Julian Okwara, I disagree. I don't think he makes the roster. I'll remove him. Charles Harris, yes. Joshua Pascal, yes. James Houston, yes. Isaiah Buggs, yes. John Kaminsky, yes. Broderick Martin, yes. Obviously, we drafted him. I'm going to take Julian Okwara out. Throw him out. Somebody else will be in that spot. I think this is the end of Julian Okwara in Detroit, so I'll remove him. Let's continue on here. Linebacker, Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Anthony Pittman. Yes, because Jalen Reeves-Maybin and Anthony Pittman are special teamers, so they'll make the squad via special teams. I agree with this. That is not difficult for the Lions linebacking core. Cornerbacks, Gardner Johnson, yes. Ifutu Melifonwu, I don't think he makes it. I think he gets cut. I'm going to put that in there. Maybe Chase Lucas takes his spot. Ifutu Melifonwu hasn't done anything at corner. I wanted him to be a safety. He hasn't done anything, so I'll put Chase Lucas there. Will Harris, I think he does make the roster. Jerry Jacobs, Cam Sutton, and Emmanuel Mosley all make the roster. I'll switch out Ifutu Melifonwu there. He doesn't make the team. Safety, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Tracy Walker. Yes, yes, yes. You could put C.J. Gardner-Johnson in there. It doesn't really matter what spot he's going to be in. I do think, and same with Will Harris. You can switch the names out, safety or cornerback. I think those guys make the roster. I agree with it. No issue there. Michael Badgley, yes. Jack Fox, yes. Scott Daly, yes. So I agree with 90% of this one. I do. But name me a surprise cut in the comment section below. Who do you think's a surprise cut? I'll go Julian Okwara. I do think his time is numbered here for the Detroit Lions. Overall, I agree. I just think some of these guys don't make the roster. We got videos dropping every single day here, folks, on my channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Live shows every Thursday at 4 p.m. That's how we do on this bad boy. With that said, adios.